we're working on a simple project today. These are little gift card holders, and you can get them in a variety of styles. Comes in 3 pieces. There's the little center thing that's going to hold be like a little pocket for the gift card. The backboard, and those would be positioned like this. You'd put the little pocket in the center and then place the front piece over it and glue them all together very carefully to line them up, and you get a little pocket effect in the center to drop a little gift card down. Get these in different styles. This one's just a plain front with no cutouts, and they also come with some styles that have little heart cutouts. This one has a little scroll cutout in front, and I know there's some that have little snowflakes, little stars, different things like that. So if you want to add a little bit more embellishment to it, you can get one with the little laser cutouts. So I'll set these aside, and I've worked up 5 so far that we're going to do. These are all very color blocked effects, and I'm going to do these with little bug designs. So I'm calling this pattern Doodle Bugs, because we're going to do a kind of a combination of just color block painting and a little bit of the Zentangle style ink design to make the bugs. So I've based 5 of these, and I just based the fronts of each one with white. Here's a black one also. Base the little sandwich piece in the middle you don't have to paint. And I've just left my edges the dark brown from the laser cutting, because I think that's a nice little accent, and I'm lazy. I don't want to paint all these edges. And let's see, you can also paint the back side either in the same color that you do the front, or if you want to coordinate it in a different color, you can. So just carefully paint all these. When you're painting, I use a flat brush, and as I'm working to keep the paint off the edges, when I'm painting, I paint really flat to those edges. I don't want those brush bristles to drag down. So I just very carefully come out to the edge, keeping my brush real flat so I can keep my edges clean. If you get a little paint on them, I mean, here's a little bit I got on, you can always touch that up with a little touch of burnt umber paint. So after you've got them base coated, the front's white, and the back whatever color you want, you know, feel creative in doing these and choose something that you like. I've just used red, yellow, black, a green, and a blue. The blue and the green were just, this blue was ultramarine blue with a touch of white added to it, and the green was phthalo green blue with a touch of white added to it, just to lighten them up a little bit. I added a little bit of multi-purpose sealer with my paint to kind of base coat and paint in one coat. If you feel like you're seeing too much wood grain, put a second coat on these. And then after they've dried good, I'm using a very fine sanding pad and just lightly go over those. I don't want to sand enough to bring any of the wood back, but I just want to soften that tooth from the paint, because the paint, when you brush it on, will raise the grain of your paint a little, or wood a little bit. So I want to smooth that back down. So once you've got them all painted in the colors of your choice, we're going to transfer some little bug designs on these. I'll set some of these aside, and we'll just work on this red one. I've got a ladybug design. And because we're going to be doing a lot of ink on this, I find a homemade transfer paper works best. And to make that, you just take a piece of any kind of tracing paper, you know, just vellum tracing paper and take a soft lead pencil, and you just, this is kind of time consuming, but just on the side edge of the pencil, just go over that whole piece of tracing paper till you have it covered with the graphite from the pencil. You may need to resharpen your pencil several times, but once you've done that, then just take a paper towel and just lightly wipe off that, and you'll wipe off any excess graphite so that it doesn't smudge on your surface too much. And then when you use that, you use it like any other transfer paper. You position your pattern on your surface, line it up, and then slide that transfer paper with the graphite side down on your surface. And then you can take a pen or a stylus and you're going to go over just your main pattern lines to transfer that. And what I find with using the graphite on the transfer paper, tracing paper, there's no wax in it, so if you need to erase lines or go over it with a pen, you're not going to have any difficulty, which you may have with some of the pre-manufactured graphite papers that have a waxy finish on them. But I find this kind very easy to erase, so if you make a mistake, it's like erasing just a fine pencil line. So we've got our design trace down there. We've got our backboard painted in red. And I teamed up the red with this one because I figured ladybugs are red, so I like the look of the red and the white and black. Now the other thing that I thought would be fun would be to put some type of pattern on the backboard. And so you can use any, I'm using a variety of stencils, and I don't know, I've got all kinds of them here, so, pull out your stencils, see what you like. I'm thinking since the ladybugs have polka dots, I'm thinking I'd like polka dots on the back of this one. So I've got this little polka dot stencil here, and what I'm going to do is just position that on the backboard, and I like to center it up so I have the dots kind of running off the side at the same spot. So maybe we'll come up here and center that on the little hang tag hole. And then we can stencil this in either black or white. So I'm thinking that I'm going to do these in white dots, because we'll have black polka dots on the ladybug, and I think the white dots on the back would pick up the colors of the white background from the front. Use any type of brush that you like stenciling with. I find these round stippler brushes are good. Dab a little bit off on my paper towel so I don't have too much excess to run off the edges, and then just start tapping that in. So you want to keep your polka dots neat, so try not to have so much paint on it that it would run under the edges of the stencil. I'm losing my voice. Pouncing up and down, just tapping it, and it may take a couple of coats, so I'm going to try to hold this very closely in position so it doesn't shift. And you can do this on the front and the back of your backboard. Or you can, if you want to, you can put a different pattern on the back side. If you want some coordinating design, you could stencil stripes, or maybe do black polka dots instead of white. Now on the front side you could get by with just polka dotting near the top, maybe the top half, so that you see, you're only going to see part of this once you have this all glued together. So, but on the back side you'll want to stencil all the way, the whole back side. So here's, you can see our polka dots, and when that dries you can use the previous row as a guide for positioning the stencils on the remainder. So I'm going to line that top row of holes up with the last row of polka dots I had stenciled. And again, hold that in place and finish stenciling the bottom of this. Just a few more to go and we'll be done with this one. Sometimes as they start drying they might look like they need a second coat, so I'm seeing some of these on this side look like they're going a little pink on me. Okay, and then carefully left off, and we've got this fun polka dotted background. So you can see when we put our front over it, that polka dot's gonna show through and add just an accent. And if you had the same thing on the back, you know, that would be a fun back to your gift card holder. Or you could, like I said, you could paint it in a coordinating color. Maybe you wanted to do the back black with some red polka dots would be cute, or red stripes. There's just a lot of fun variations that you can do with this. So we're going to set our polka dotted background aside, and we're going to work on our ladybug. I've transferred her with our homemade graphite paper, and I'm just using Sharpie pens. You can get these at any office supply store, Walmart, any place that carries Sharpies. And I've got a couple different sizes. I've got this one that I really like is a retractable one. It's called an ultra fine point, and it's just like a ballpoint pen where you push it and the tip comes out, and it's a very fine little point. And then I've got some of these fine points, and these are in kind of varying conditions. This one's a little sharper edge. This one that I've used a bit is rounded a little bit more, so I would get a thicker line. So just get a couple, you know, different sizes of those, the real fine and then maybe the regular fine. And to do the ladybug, it's just a simple matter of outlining. So I'm just going to take my pen and draw over all my graphite lines for the outline. And just follow them very carefully. And this is why you want to sand that base coat before you start doing your inking. You want a nice smooth finish so that your ink goes on smooth. You don't quite hit your graphite lines, don't worry about it. These should erase real easily once everything is finished and dry. So there's our basic outlines. And the fun thing with Zentangle is that you can then start doodling. And, you know, just use your imagination about what type of patterns you would like to include. So for instance, our polka dots, we could paint them in, color them in solid, or we could do little scrolly swirls. And that's kind of fun. That gives you kind of a, almost like a folk arty rose look to them. So again, I'm just starting on the, I've got these polka dots outlined, and I'm just going to start on the outer edge and start working around it. And as I come around to where it would connect, I just scroll it in a little bit and just keep swirling it in like a pinwheel. So say the ladybug's body, we could draw down the center and just keep fanning those lines out till we fill in her body. And we'll do the other side. And say we want some more design in there. Just start, maybe we'll switch to a bigger pen. Let's see, and maybe do polka dots up those bands. This is pretty much limited only by your imagination. Just, I find it very, very relaxing to do these doodle type of designs, because there's no right or wrong. It's like when you were a child and doing those designs we used to do where you'd take a pen and just scribble a pattern and then start filling them with lines and dots and colors. And so let's do something on her head. Let's maybe we give her a couple of squirrely eyes. And then we could do little half moon shapes to fill in the head. Let's see how that looks so far on our background. We could do little scallops on the inside edge of her wings. And maybe we do a little flower up in this corner. We'll do a center and some flower petals. So I did 4 opposite each other, like at 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9, and 3, and then I'm filling in between with another petal. So now we have 8 petals, and then you can make the center, give it a pattern. We're going to do like a cross hatching. And we'll put a stem on this. And a leaf. Of course, a leaf needs vein lines, so we'll add vein lines. I'm going to do an inside loop in the petals. So that gives you the idea. You can just, again, just fill in as much as you want. Maybe on these little scallops we start doing, we'll do like an inner scallop on one, and maybe on this one we'll do like a little fan shape and alternate those around. You'll just find the more pattern you add, the more fun these designs are. See, so this one will be a fan. So we're just alternating the fan shape and a little inner scallop on some of these. See how fun that is. Maybe we put a half flower down on this corner. So we'll do the center and our cross hatching. And some petals. Just added a little leaf to this end. And maybe on the background we want to go back to these dots and outline those in black. I won't do all these, but that'll give you the idea. So now let's do this one that we see through the little window. Okay, there you can see the black outlining on the back picks up those colors of the black outlining here. So I think that's enough for our ladybug. And so that would be ready to be, let it dry well. You might want to give it a quick spray of some type of spray mat just to set the ink so we make sure it doesn't bleed. And then you can varnish it with 1 or 2 coats of varnish and use some type of wood glue then to glue your pieces together. And I would recommend, you know, putting a little bit of glue. You don't want so much that it's going to bleed out on the sides, and then weigh it down with something heavy enough to hold those layers together till the glue sets up. Just be careful to get your sandwich together so that all the layers are even. Okay, the bumblebee we're going to do with a yellow background. So I figured bees are yellow, and I've transferred the outline for the bumblebee onto the front piece. And I just wanted to show you that if you want to add a little pop of color to these fronts, you can. You don't have to make them just black and white. So I'm going to add color in the bee's body with a little bit of yellow. I don't want it to be real heavy, but I'm just gonna do a wash of color over his body or her body. I can still see my transfer lines through it. I'm not putting it on so heavy that they're covered. So I'm just adding a little bit of water to my paint just to give it a little transparency and let it go on smooth and thin. And I'm just gonna color in the center of this bee. So we're gonna let that dry, and then we'll come and do our inking. Now when you paint and wash a color over your design, you want to make sure that that's good and dry before you start your inking, so that you don't have the ink run if there's any water still there. So on this one, I'm going to use 2 pens. I'm going to outline the bee with the heavier black pen. And we'll also use that to paint in or draw in the stripes on the bee's body. So I'm just going to outline those stripes, and it probably take 2 or 3 passes to fill in those bands. After done, I think maybe I'll put in a skinnier band in between the wider ones, just to fill in that a little bit more. Okay, then I'm going to go to the thinner pen and outline his antenna and wings just to keep them a little more delicate. I'm just drawing a little dot here at the end of the antenna, and we'll outline his wings. We'll do a little inner banner, inner outline, I guess, on this top wing. And do some little lines around the edges. I'm going to do little flower shapes inside here, since we know bees like flowers. And I'm just filling these in with just little lines to fill in around that flower. So I've got some where I can fit them, little dots coming out from the center of the petal, and some little V shapes in between. I think on these wings up here, I'm going to go back and make that outer edge like a checkerboard, just to give it a little more weight. So I'm just filling in every other one of these little blocks with black. Give the bee a couple eyes. So just a circle with a black dot in the middle. This one we're going to do an inner edge of the checkerboard. Maybe I'll switch to this bigger pen to fill those blocks in. Switch and, use some black paint. I'm thinking for the polka dots I'm doing in here, black, just dotting with black would be easier than drawing these in with a pen. So that works a lot better. Add some dots on this inner side here. So here's our bee with the background. I think what we're going to do on this one for the background is I want to do some stripes since our bee's striped. Here's a stripe stencil, and I'm just going to center it on my background, and we're going to use the stippler brush, and I'm going to do these in black. Since our bee's in black and yellow, I thought the black stripes on here will be cute. And I'm not going to worry about if these are real solid. I kind of like the just stipply color, so a little bit of the yellow showing through. There. You can see our bumblebee stripes. I think I'm going to do just a little border around the outside edge here, like a little stitch line. Okay, so there's our little bee card holder.